We are live. This is episode number 28 of Savages in the Bronx, live from Studio 54 in New Jersey and REM Studio in Staten Island, New York, airing exclusively on Twitch and powered by StreamYard. Welcome back. It's showtime once again, Tom, here on this Monday, December the 13th, 2021. I'm your host, Rich Rivera, and I'm being joined by the holly jolly Tom Wospil.
Good evening, Richard. How you doing?
How you doing today, buddy? Yes, we're in full holiday swing here at REM Studio and Savages in the Bronx. Christmas shopping till I'm dropping. I mean, it's been crazy that we're at this point of the year already. 2021 has truly flown by, and unfortunately, there's no real baseball to talk about right now. And not, of course, the offseason anyway. It would have screwed us. But the lockout has really derailed any good news of coming in. Tom, how are you taking all this in with the MLB lockout and these Yankees just not making any news?
You know, we're going to get into it a lot tonight, but it was getting real disheartening. It's, you know, you see the Heyman tweets, you see the passing tweets, you know, it's like these three teams are in on a guy, and then Yankees don't get him. Yankees don't get him. Yankees don't get him. So it's been a little rough. You know, I want a little stocking stuffer, even if it wasn't a big gift under the tree. Give me a little something. Give me a reliever. I don't know.
My wish list was not that long this year, and Santa couldn't deliver before the CBA expired. Luckily, there are still some players out there that, of course, that the Yankees have been interested in, whether they're on the open market or there's somebody to trade for. We'll get into that and more with a very special guest later on tonight, because if you're just joining and didn't know, we do have a major guest coming on. He's been on this show before, John Jastremski, joining us later tonight. We're going to get into it with John. He's been doing some great stuff with The Ringer and Bill Simmons, obviously formerly of WFAN, but we'll get into it with him later on tonight. But before we do anything, just like to remind you, because some episodes have been getting uploaded slowly but surely, but Savage in the Bronx is on YouTube, so make sure to like and subscribe and share to your friends. And who knows, maybe by Christmas morning, every single episode of Savage in the Bronx will actually be up on YouTube, including this one tonight. And of course, like every single episode of Savages in the Bronx, since episode number 1, we always started off with the Bronx is burning. But of course, nothing's been really burning. It's just kind of been a very small little candle-lit 3-wick flame, maybe something nice from Sincerely Allie Studio. But the Bronx is not burning, but the Bronx is still burning here on Savages in the Bronx. We'll get into some of these recent transactions. I guess not so recent. Again, when you have a month go by, Tom, and there's not much news, it's kind of sad to write these kind of notes because, all right, well, yeah, we've been late on the ball here, but there's not really much to talk about. So,
yeah, I mean, we were all ready. We talked about it after our last episode. Like, let's get ready for, you know, extra innings episodes. Boom. We were ready to launch that like Corey Seager episode, launch a Verlander episode, launch just again, stocking stuff. I don't care. It's somebody. But you know, nothing really happened. So
yeah, it's funny you mentioned Verlander because he was actually officially, I don't know how it went through, but he officially signed today. Like that was official. Apparently the MLBPA and baseball, they agreed to it just because it was approved upon before the CBA expired. So
it was something in his contract or something wasn't right.
2 years, 50.
There could have been a typo. Who knows?
2 years, 50, and it was actually probably the one guy that the Yankees were very in on and had a legitimate chance at before the lockout to grab, and Verlander required just another year, and the Yankees weren't willing to give it to him, so now he's headed back to Houston.
Yeah, you know, there's something you always got to, you know, keep in consideration for the Yankees is, you know, was Verlander ever interested, or did he always just kind of want to go back to Houston? You know, people will use the Yankees and, you know, they'll use the Mets now. I know Cohen has tweeted about it a few times. He doesn't want to get used by players. So who knows if he was ever even interested. Again, it's not our money. You want the Yankees to spend, but 2 for $50 for Verlander for someone who hasn't pitched in, 2 years?
I mean, good for him.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
good for that
great trade for him. And, but, you know, listen, we do live in a world where the Yankees have a lot of money. They have a ton, but if you tell me that they do have a budget still, they're not going to go out and just sign every player. At least in the beginning, when the Verlander news came out, it was like, okay, well, if you're not going to spend $50 million there, that means we got to be in on blank. And the answer was blank. We were in on no one. So
it was blank. Yeah, and of course in our ticker here we got some of the few subtractions of this team, and obviously knowing that I'm like really like, like I'm like, all right, whatever. Like Clint Frazier, of course, is probably the biggest name out of the four mentioned in the ticker, and that's got like a few Yankee fans like, oh, they never gave this guy a chance. Clint Frazier is a distressed asset, and there is no value in Clint Frazier for a guy who possibly wasn't going to play again, and there was a fear of that. But obviously, hope for the best for the guy. I really do. I hope he kills it in Chicago. I hope he does a great job. He had his, but to kind of go off on this team to say, oh, you never gave him a chance. He should still be out there. He should still. I think it's like time to kind of part ways with that. And yeah, hope for his sake he does well.
Yeah, I always like Frazier. And my favorite thing about seeing he had the tweet right where he's like, I'm glad I'm gone. It just reminds me back to the day. I think I told the story when we did the Guess the Graph with the Clint Frazier ball, and some guy went up to him and said, Clint, we're from Scranton. We love seeing you there, and Clint's response to that fan was, I hope I never go back. And when I saw that reaction of I'm glad I'm gone, I'm like, that's exactly the same sentiment. Like I do kind of know what he meant. Like I think he was just ready, to move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I always liked Clinton. I mean, yeah, did he have problems in the field? Yeah. He had a lot of health issues. I hope the best for him. I think he can be a fun player when healthy. So I'm hoping he does well in Chicago, and best luck to him and a lot of other guys that left. Yeah.
It's a good fit. It's a team that definitely could use some outfield. It's a team willing to take some risk this off season. Chicago's a great baseball town, and that's a guy who's going to get some good opportunity to showcase what he was projected to be, and hopefully he is everything he was supposed to be. I don't wish ill will on Clint Frazier, despite him not being in pinstripes anymore. Granted, his best season in the Bronx was his 2019 season, where he was a fourth, fifth outfielder, 267 batting average, 38 RBIs, and an OPS of 806. Not terrible for a guy who was kind of like in and out of different jobs, told he had the starting job, told he wasn't had the starting job, had his injuries. But, you feel for his tenure in the Bronx, but you wish him the best of luck.
That's where I kind of feel for him. I do think, now granted, he didn't come in and just perform unbelievably and said, didn't give the Yankees a choice to give other people his job back. But, I do think that there was some, not like manipulation of service time stuff with Clint Frazier, but just some, like, make a plan and like stick to it with them that the Yankees just weren't willing to do. It's not the same thing we saw with like Jabba, but like it just kind of reminds me of some of the Jabba Phil Hughes stuff where they just couldn't decide what they wanted to do, and they like would do it for 2 weeks. You're the starter, and then like maybe you're not the starter. We can take you out for defense, and then it just, I think it definitely messes with a guy's confidence. So
I think we're just seeing too much of it too, because there's a long list of players that were highly praised in the minors and just could not hack it at the big league level, or not given as much opportunity as well, and didn't really go on and pan out. And then obviously some guys were traded when they should have been traded at the time. If the Yankees had given, for example, Jesus Montero more of a chance, Jesus Montero didn't work out well for Seattle. And then granted, Michael Pineda wasn't really much for the Yanks, but for that trade, at least the Yankees kind of got something out of Pineda. Yeah. But then you see a guy like Clint Frazier who didn't get as much opportunity. You see a guy like Miguel Andujar who might be relegated to bench, but also might find his way on the DFA block too, if there's a move out there for this team to bring in players. So
yeah, they have a bad history of taking some of these young guys and then not knowing what to do with them, and then just kind of letting them rot on the vine. Not trading them when they could have. And who knows what Clint Frazier's trade value was after 2019. Who knows what Andujar's was after 2018? Is that the year he was second in the Rookie of the Year?
Yes. To show, hey, honestly, what he should have won. But
I agree with that. But no, yeah, like who knows if those guys could have had some trade value, but it has been a bit of a pattern of late of just not knowing what to do with a guy and just letting it just go, and then it becomes nothing.
I got to note that also mound visits will not be the same again without Rugi Odor being in the mix.
Oh, do love some mound visits. I was still hoping that he was going to be hired as the pitching coach. Or not the pitch. Well, I mean the batting coach, but then he would obviously go out for the pitching,
right?
The mound visits. He was what he was. It's honestly of the 3 guys that left though, or 4 guys that left we have on the ticker. I still don't quite understand why we got rid of Tyler Wade. Why are we getting rid of someone who is fast and plays good defense?
Plays a hell of a lot of positions too.
Some of the things the Yankees have said for this offseason is we want to get more athletic and have more flexibility, and that's Tyler Wade.
Right.
That's an odd. I don't know. I think it's definitely an odd choice by them.
Weird.
But
it's very weird because at this point they don't really have a bench. I know these are guys you can obviously pick up on minor league deals, 1-year deals. So it really, you can get those guys obviously. But Tyler Wade's a perfect guy to have on your bench just to play all those positions.
Yeah, you're just going to go out and sign a new Tyler Wade. But you had a Tyler Wade. It was Tyler Wade. You could just have kept him. I don't know. And I guess that was weird to me.
And I guess since we're making notes on everybody in the ticker, I'll make a note on Nick Nelson. All right, so our next point here, let's get into our tendered contracts. Some Yankee fans are calling it coal in their stocking, but if you listen to this podcast since the very beginning, you know that Tom and I are big Gary Sanchez supporters and was hoping low-key that Gary wasn't going to go anywhere, but thought, granted that in a must-win game, the Yankees still started their better defensive catcher in a position where they needed guys to hit, but Gary Sanchez still stays put for another season in the Bronx.
What else are you going to do? Listen, I'm telling you, look around the league and you find me better hitting catchers than Gary Sanchez. There's not many of them. He's still probably at this point a below average hitter major league. I think he had a slightly under OPS plus for the league, but compared to other catchers, he's a good hitting catcher. Yes, he's been bad defensively. It seems like he was making strides there, then he kind of fell back. So I don't know. I mean, listen, it's just one more year of the Gary Sanchez experience. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully he's able to, make it work. And if not, then listen, then time does have to come where a move has to get made.
Yeah, and it's going to be just be another year of the same story. The balance of power between Higashioka's defense and Gary's bat. It's just another year of it that I'm just like, we're going to really run this back again. But at the same token, love Gary. Love what he can do with the bat, because when it comes down to it, you need that big spot. You need a guy that's going to come up clutch. Who you trusting more, Gary Sanchez or Kyle Higashioka?
He's got to have a couple of those series. He's going to have a series in July where he hits 4 home runs over a series. He's got to hit a walk-off, and everyone's going to love him again. It's just
love him.
The in-between. It's the ups and downs with Gary Sanchez that it's what it is. What it is. This is what he is.
Gio Urshela and Domingo Germán also added back on minimal contracts. The Urshela netting $6.55 million for 2022. Germán for $1.75 million. I think Urshela's on for another 2 years, and Germán's got another 3. So again, these are 3 guys for low key signings. Obviously, not going through arbitration, so it's good to have these guys back. Urshela's going to be in an interesting spot too, especially if the Yankees don't solve the shortstop position by their whatever opening day is going to be. He's a guy that you need right now, especially for the amount of money you're paying him. He's a Gold Glove third base if it's not for Matt Chapman, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. But still, as great as Urshela has been in whatever position you ask for him, you hope that when it comes around, he's your guy at third base. And then you can find that shortstop that's going to just solve everything.
Yeah, I mean, he's for what they're paying for him, you're definitely getting value out of Gio Urshela. He is someone that I know when we've done our confidence rankings throughout the year, he's probably the one guy on the team when the ball's hit to him, you're like, that's an out. He's going to make that play. He's going to make that throw. Sometimes Glaber gets the ball in his glove and he's going to throw it, and you're like, well, this is going in the stands. Like, oh, how many hops is this going to go over to first? Like, Gio, it's going to be there. So he is that, I don't know, that comfort blanket, that security blanket out there that just kind of makes you feel good. And I don't know if he's good enough to be that third baseman on a championship team, because he's another guy who he sometimes can be streaky with the bat, but he definitely has a role on this team. And if they end up signing guys that they have to move him off third to be more of a bench spot, then I don't think it's a terrible role for him either.
Right. Yeah, I like it. I love Gio Urshela. Again, for what you're paying him and trying to, and Yankee fans are going to hate to hear it, but if they're going to plan on staying under the luxury tax threshold, that's not a bad contract to have at third base to be your starting third baseman by the time the season starts. All right. So with that said, and as we're waiting on JJ to join us in a little bit, I do have a scheduling announcement in regards to our show, and obviously, if you've been keeping up with us on Twitter, we thank you so much for your patience. Make sure to keep following us at Savages Bronx on Twitter for the latest updates. And of course, on our Instagram page as well as Savages Bronx. We had to make a last minute change to our time start. We're obviously started at 9 p.m. Eastern time tonight. So again, the best way to find out and know about all the news is to keep us followed on social media, because the baseball lockout has kind of thrown a wrench into everything, Tom. It's been tough to talk about a team when baseball is kind of like a moot point to cover here. So it's been a little bit tough. Obviously, leading off is having its final episode of the season tomorrow, episode number 30. I'll cover that a little bit more later on tonight. But yeah, no episodes scheduled in the future for Savage in the Bronx. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, no. In this case, no news is not good news. So, we were ready before the lockout happened to jump on for any big signings. And listen, if the lockout gets lifted and then boom, trades and signings starts happening, we'll be here for you. We'll be jumping right in like we did at the trade deadline. Just give us that chance.
Give us that chance.
Major League Baseball, just give us that chance.
Yeah, I mean, again, you mentioned it before. We were waiting on these extra innings episodes to start rolling out. You mentioned Verlander, maybe possibly the shortstop. Nothing happened, so we couldn't roll anything out. So we just sit on our hands for the last few weeks, and hopefully that won't be the case in a few weeks' time. We'll get some baseball back. But man, I guess we could talk about the lockout for a little bit. This is just crazy. I didn't think I'd ever sit through a lockout. Obviously, we had something similar with the situation with COVID, suspending the season last year, but I didn't think I'd ever experience something like 1995, 94, 1994. So it's crazy that baseball is not really an active topic of discussion right now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the lockout did give us the craziness of that signing period of all those moves within like 5 days of each other. It was crazy. It's a lockout right now. But I guess none of this will matter if we don't miss if we don't miss games, right? So if as long as games happen, we don't miss regular season games and everything, then we're gonna forget about this, right? 5 years from now, it's like, oh yeah, they did have that thing, and then they came back from it. Hopefully they can fix a lot of the issues that are going on in baseball, whether those are on the field issues or off the field things, or just general rule changes. Universal DH, grow up NL. Come on, let's go.
Well, that's got to be a done deal. I mean, I think one thing we can probably rule on is that the designated hitter is going to be a universal thing, come the 2022 season.
I'll be honest. I just want it just to hear NL fans cry. I don't even care about it that much. Like,
I don't think we're going to hear much NL fans cry. I can guess here in our chat we have a lot of people here. Thank you so much for joining.
You don't think we're going to hear NL fans crying about this isn't real baseball, and real baseball everyone hits. They just got some guy. It's going to be fantastic.
Well,
I might just tune into like a Reds Pirates game, like opening day, just to hear like, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but DHing for the Cincinnati Reds at home is Joey Votto. And it's just
those guys can go scratch, but I think the modern generation of baseball fans, which is what Major League Baseball should worry about, and plus the future, I think they want the universal DH. I'll ask our chat right now. For those of you who are commenting in our chat, like Greg Kandari 11, luxury tax threshold, broke little brother needs some lunch money. Thanks, bud. Appreciate it. Huge Mets fan over there. But our National League fans in the chat, how do you feel about a universal DH coming to Major League Baseball? Do you want it? Do you hate it? What do you think? And we'll read some of your comments in the chat.
But
outside Jastremski to join us.
outside of things like that, right? So there's the issues with how the minors, the minor league players, how they're paid, which was really highlighted by some issues this year of guys. The issue with the Somerset Patriots, where like their cars all flooded when the stadium flooded, and then they like, oh well, these guys have they have nowhere to live and they just have no money. Like there's stuff like that I'm hoping they fix that sort of stuff.
So that's where it gets funky though, because Major League Baseball has a disassociation to minor league baseball, especially players who are not on the 40-man roster. Minor league baseball is going to still continue its business come April or May 2022. They start a little late. It doesn't matter. It's those 40-man roster players that matter the most because they're part of the union, obviously. So they could
but I don't know. Listen, at some point you need to like do what's best for the, a lot of those guys, granted, a lot of guys. No, I know you do, but a lot of these guys in the majors, they were top prospects that, they got big signing bonuses, but like, you would just hope a guy like a Gio Urshela we're just talking about, he was, I'm sure at parts like, like really roughing it out there. And like, you would just hope that they could take care of these guys and do something to help them out. It wouldn't, in the grand scheme of the cost of Major League Baseball, it wouldn't cost that much to kind of take care of some of those minor leaguers, which help grow the game, helps, a lot of people, their first time going to a baseball game is a minor league game. It's expensive going to Yankee Stadium, to go to Citi Field, to go to Fenway. Doesn't cost as much to go to TD Ballpark in Somerset or Waterfront, whatever. Waterfront
Ballpark.
Yeah, whatever. Waterfront Ballpark or Arm & Hammer Field, whatever the hell they call it now in Trenton. Like, it doesn't cost that much to do it. So it's a lot of people's first experience. And like, you want to, preserve that. It's like, I don't know. I think that's important. We had the issue, like we joked about the luxury tax. Like, what does that look like? Do they put in a floor? Do they put in a hard cap? Do they put in, how do they raise the luxury tax? What did people do with the luxury tax? There's a lot of teams who just take that money and just pocket it,
Yeah, there's a lot of issues with how the luxury tax threshold money is spent, and you have a lot of teams that are just cool with blowing it up when they're maybe a piece or two away from actually being in contention. There's a lot of problems with how owners are structuring their teams. We do have a lot of comments here in our chat as far as the Universal DH go. And by the way, a few of these people are National League fans. So we have, yes, please give me the Universal DH. Mikey Pars 92. It's more jobs for players at the least will lead to more offense. And we know the MLB loves offense. And Core Ryan goes, creates an extra 15 jobs too, and is more exciting product than watching pitchers attempt to bunt or saving the sacred double switch for managers to use. So obviously there are a lot of people who want the designated hitter, and I am with those people. And I'm sure you're with those people, and you are with those people. You said it.
I am. Listen, I watch. My wife's a Mets fan. I watch a lot of Mets games. I do, and it's terrible. It's terrible to watch pitchers hit, and I don't want to hear, well, Jacob DeGrom's a bad hitter. He's a great hitting pitcher. He's not a major, he wouldn't be a good hitter if he wasn't a pitcher. So I don't want to hear that either.
Listen, for what it's worth, DeGrom is solid at what he does.
He is.
But yes,
but if I hear that one more time, oh, well, remember that time Bartolo hit that home run? Like, who cares? See, it's
for the once in a while moment. But we'll definitely discuss more about the lockout and its effect on the whole baseball world. And before we get into that, we just want to make sure to follow us at Savage's Bronx. You can follow Tom at
Wospil 54.
And you can follow me at Rich J. Rivera, where I seldomly tweet. I need to do a better job. Maybe that's going to be one of my New Year's resolutions this year. Just be a better tweeter. Send a tweet out once a day. Just once a day. I think it's a solid resolution right there. But more importantly, forget about me. Hell, forget about Tom. Follow our very special guest at John_Jastremski on Twitter. He tweets every day, every minute almost. The Syracuse alum made his waves at WAER Radio, Patch.com, SNY, and WFAN as the host of JJ After Dark. But in 2021, he made the jump over to The Ringer, where he's now the host of New York, New York, which you can subscribe to and listen to on Spotify. He's a Yankees fanatic, and he joins the program For the second time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, John Jastremski joins us on Savages of the Bronx. What's up, JJ?
That's one hell of an introduction, by the way.
Very
I mean, my
long-winded.
goodness. If I'm ever looking for like somebody to like introduce me at like any sort of event or, you know, whenever I end up leaving this earth and I need somebody to write an obituary, you're my man, bro.
I got you, especially the obituary part. I'm so down for that.
He's basically just the Flavor Flav.
Talk about
podcasters.
coming in guns a-blazing. You would think I'd be coming in on like a high note, good dinner, good mood. I'm a little extra crispy because I'm down in Florida right about now. But no, we're talking about people dying in obituaries. I mean, naturally. Well, that's on me, guys. I can't even blame you for that. That's completely my fault.
Well, welcome back, JJ. It's nice to have you on. It's unfortunate that we don't have active baseball stories to really kind of cover, so we're just kind of have to get into like the whole compass of the offseason and this lockout. It's been insane. But let me ask you real quick on this lockout. Do you foresee this lasting into the regular season?
I don't, because I want to believe that they're not stupid enough to, you know, jeopardize games and put you in a position where you're wondering if early April is in doubt. I'm going to say that they work it out, but I think they're going to make it miserable for everybody in the process. I think that's what it boils down to. And, you know, I was thinking about this, guys, because when I get back on Wednesday night, Thursday and Friday, I'm hosting Baseball Night in New York on SNY. And I'm like, outside of Buck Showalter, what are we going to talk about? Like, I have now, full disclosure, I'm in football mode. I'm in basketball mode. I'm not necessarily engulfing myself in like every lockout story known to man, nor should you be, because honestly, there ain't much to report right about now. But I haven't watched their show in about 2 weeks. Outside of Buck, what the hell are they talking about? So you'll have to check in with me end of the week, and I'll let you know what our report is and how I'm finding a way to fill 30 minutes of content with the guys.
Oh, we believe you.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say, like, I'm hoping to get this done before April because I already have a trip to Florida planned to go down to spring training every year. So if there's no baseball, I'm just gonna be hanging out. I guess hanging out on the beach in Florida isn't the worst thing in the world.
I was gonna say I'm kind of taking advantage of that art right now, Tom, and it's fabulous. So I was down for the Dolphin-Giant game, and I've basically decided to stay ever since.
Yeah,
I think the biggest mistake that I'm making is that I'm going back on Wednesday. Although from everything I've heard up in New York, the weather's been fabulous. Is that
it's supposed to be like 65 on Thursday? I've already considered taking off to go golfing.
So the warm weather is following me. I like
you're bringing it with you. You're gonna bring the warmth up. It was like, I don't know, 40 something today, but yeah, it's supposed to be like 65 or something crazy on Thursday. So
God bless global warming, huh?
Yeah, right. It's just, at least we get something out of this.
Seriously.
Well, while it's burning up here in New York, obviously, as we've mentioned before, it's not burning in baseball news. And certainly something that wasn't burning was the Bronx prior to the CBA expiring. Now, JJ, you've gone on record to express your frustration of the Yankees offseason prior to the CBA expiration. But so what are your overall takeaways? Obviously, there's a lot of frustration there, but once this lockout does end, what's the key move or moves the Yanks need to make?
It's a great question. I am frustrated. I am ticked off. I preface all of that, though, guys, by saying the Yankees can make a couple of moves whenever this is settled, and the team could look drastically different, and the look and the feel of what we're thinking in March is a whole lot different, and it's not nearly as doom and gloom as it is right about now. But they need a shortstop. They need an answer in center field. Are they going to get a pitcher to put alongside Garrett Cole and Luis Severino? The bullpen, to me, might be an arm short. Like, this is a team that when you watch them in late September and early October, I got this sense, I don't know if you guys felt the same way, they didn't look like a World Series team. They looked like a team that was going backwards, not a team that was going forward. So the idea that you could look at the roster and say, hey, we're good, everything's all right, the year in 2020 combined with a miserable, underwhelming regular season last year, that kind of puts you in a direction where, yeah, you got to have a much different look to your team.
It was a weird like situation watching that wild card game. It's something I probably haven't experienced as a Yankee fan, where I just never thought they were going to win. I was just watching it like, well, this is over. Even though granted they went down early, just usually a playoff game, you're feeling good. You can talk yourself into getting excited. I just wasn't, because I knew that the team just seemed dead. So they limped to the finish line, and they seemed dead at that point. And sad.
Well, it was such a weird end to the regular season, because you could make the argument, guys, their moment was that series sweep in Boston that I was up there for. They won the Friday night game. Stanton hit the grand slam on Saturday. They come from behind and win the games on Sunday. And you're like, all right, this is going to be the awakening of the 2021 Yankees. They're going to take that momentum, ride it in the final week of the year, and get into the postseason. Didn't happen. They won 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays, but then they played the Rays, couldn't score. They didn't end up getting home field advantage. They had to go back to Boston. Garrett Cole wasn't right. The Yankee bats basically were what they were all damn season. And yeah, when they fell behind whatever it was, I think it was 3-0 in that game. And then when Judge got thrown out at the plate, one of the worst sends in the history of third base coaching that I've ever seen in my life, that was when you knew, guys, yeah, this ain't their night. This ain't happening tonight. There ain't going to be some positive juju now coming the Yankees' way.
And that's where the New York fan negativity comes in. I remember when we had you on earlier in the year, you were our very first guest on the show, which was awesome to have. We asked you what were your takeaways on this team, and how do you feel going into the 2021 season, how this team was going to look. And you had said that if this team doesn't make it to the World Series, you're going to advocate significant changes following in the offseason. Now, the Yankees probably had that chance to do significant changes, but it seems like their general manager staying intact. They're obviously keeping Aaron Boone. So at this rate, what other significant changes could they possibly make that might shake things up? Because it just looks like they're just going to run it back.
It's a great point, Rich. And that's why I was so annoyed about the idea of the Boone extension. I knew there was a chance in hell they weren't firing Brian Cashman. Brian Cashman is basically like a Steinbrenner brother. And I think he will have the job as long as he wants the job. Whether you like that or not is besides the point. So I was resigned knowing that Cashman was going to be back here. But I thought there'd be pressure from ownership saying, hey, something's not working. Our team is clearly taking a step back. They didn't necessarily respond to the leadership of Aaron Boone. Well, you got to go and make a change. They didn't do that. They rewarded him. They extended him over 3 years, which to me is just absolutely asinine. It basically rewards mediocrity. But to answer your question as far as changing the look and the feel of the team, well, it's got to start with the players, right, guys? Like, I can't go into next year with like 90% of the Yankee roster being as is. I need a different look and a different feel to this Yankee team. And don't tell me that Andrelton Simmons is the answer to all of that. I got to see a Yankee lineup that looks drastically different than the one we saw in Boston in October. Drastically different.
Who do you want in pinstripes come whenever opening day is at this rate?
Okay, so I was in on one of the 2 Dodger guys. I thought Seager or Chris Taylor would have been fantastic Yankees. Seager went for a boatload of money. I get it. But you know what? That's baseball in 2021. You got to be able to up the ante. You want a free agent, you got to pay for a free agent. I think Chris Taylor would have been perfect. All right, he ends up staying with the Dodgers. Now you think about how can they change this team. I love the idea of Matt Olson at first base. Now, I loved Rizzo. I thought he was a terrific Yankee. I'm going to have no issue if they decide to bring him back. But if you're looking for a guy who's got far more upside, who's got far more potential, that's a trade that you absolutely have to revisit. Correa is the guy I'm looking at shortstop. And I can't stand the Astros. He's tough to take at times, but he's a badass, guys. Yes. And I think on a team that has way too many nice guys, they could use a personality like that who's going to come in and basically say, yeah, I'm taking names. I'm kicking ass. I don't give a you know what I have to say. The Yankees could use a little of that. They really could. I could dream and tell you Freddie Freeman, but I don't think there's a chance in hell he's leaving the Atlanta Braves. I could be wrong on this. He'd be the dream first baseman. He's a clutch gamer. He's a legend. He's a future Hall of Famer. I think Freeman ends up back with the world champs. So I'm going to say Correa, Olson, or Rizzo. If I get Correa, I'll get either or. And then I need an athletic outfielder type. And I actually got to go through the ranks and go through the list of free agents, quite frankly, to try to see who's still available. Because I'll be honest, a lot of names that I wanted have said sayonara. But can the Yankees go and get a guy who can play a bunch of different outfield positions so that you're not relying on Aaron Hicks to go and play 130 games next year?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. A lot of those moves are something we would love to see made. I know the center field market at this point, it sounds like it's a lot of trades. It's the two big names floated out there, Ketel Marte and Brian Reynolds. Both of those guys are going to cost mega packages. They're going to cost two of a top three prospects, big time returns. And the other one's being floated out there is Kiermaier, who's athletic, can't hit, but can hit at Yankee Stadium. So maybe they just bottle that, and Kiermaier is actually a 25 home run.
You know what would scare me about Kiermaier? And I love him, guys, as a player. I love him as a player. I think he's a winning player. I think he's so much better than his numbers. The idea of trading with that franchise, I couldn't do it because they know what they're doing. You make a trade with them, you're probably getting fleeced. Am I right or am I wrong? Look at every trade they make. They fleece everybody.
They are the smartest guys in the room, easily.
Yeah.
Easily. But yeah, Carlos Correa, I've made it a note of it multiple times in this show, including our last offseason episode that we had back in mid-November. Carlos Correa just brings that edge. You mentioned it, that attitude that you want on this team. Too many stoic players, too many of the DJ LeMahieu, Aaron Judge, the very nice guy. You want that guy to make that back of the Daily News headlining statement that makes you go, wow. But also the same token, I look across the way and see these moves being made by these New York Metropolitans, and that also reinvigorates my passion here as a Yankee fan. Why you guys did not make a move before the CBA expired? So it's killing me. It's killing me, but hey, good for them. I mean, what else
listen, I'm not going to lie, guys. The Mets doing what they've been doing, it bothers me to no end. Going to giving Scherzer $50 or $42 million, disgusting. And now the idea that Buck Showalter could be the next manager, that bothers me that much more because Showalter was the guy I wanted to be the Yankee manager. I wanted the Yankees to reunite Buck with the franchise that he was a part of back in the early and mid-1990s. I thought he would have been the perfect guy to run the Yankees. So the idea now of Buck going and running the Mets, oh, guys, it's sickening. It's sickening.
Sickening stuff. But I'll tell you what's not sickening. It's our great sponsor, Sincerely Allie Studio, who makes great customized candles and wine glasses and a whole lot more. This episode of Savage in the Bronx, as always, brought to you by Sincerely Allie Studios. The holidays are here, and if you need last-minute stocking stuffers for your loved ones, I can't think of a better place to shop than Sincerely Allie's. Her gingerbread cookie candles. They smell just like they just came out of grandma's oven, but quick PSA, don't eat the candles. I mean, I know they're tempting to look kind of just like it, but just don't eat the candle. 20% off sale happening on her Etsy page at Sincerely Allie Studio. She also has, again, custom coffee mugs, wine glass, a whole lot more. You get a Yankee logo on a wine glass if you really want to. Give her a follow at sincerely.allie on Instagram for all things for your self-care needs. Happy holidays to you and yours. Sincerely, Allie. And of course, we always love Sincerely Allie, and our next segment is going to be brought to you by Sincerely Allie Studio. That's, of course, Guess the Graph, which JJ knows all too well about.
By the way, very nice job on the ad read there. Very professionally done, if I say so myself.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Put a little gusto into that one. I think they'll be very, very happy with the end result.
Yeah, I love candles that much that gotta give them.
Hey, listen, they're a great holiday gift. I mean, for a lot of the ladies in my life, they love their candles. So me, not so much.
And for the stinker of an off season the Yankees had, you need something to smell good. So there
exactly.
You go.
Especially when I'm coming back after a day of golf. That's when you definitely need a candle. But
Tom knows all too well about that too.
I mean, mostly mine is my golf game is pretty bad. So,
that too. I feel your pain on that, Tom. I feel
not great.
Actually, before we get into Guess the Graph, by the way, our Twitch chat has been very active. So if anybody has any great questions to throw JJ's way, send them my way here on Twitch as well. But I do want to talk about New York, your podcast, which has been over 120 episodes, smash hit on Spotify.
Wow, has it been 120? Good for you for figuring that out. I I was keeping count, guys, for a while, full disclosure, and then I got to like episode like 25, and I was like, "The hell with this! I can't."
Well, one of the app says like how many episodes you have. It wasn't really that. I didn't count them.
Nice. But, okay, I didn't even know this. All right, cool.
I'm not that good, but anyway,
Rich can't count that high.
I can't count. Yeah,
Me neither.
I count to 28, and that's about it. Oh, 27. Anyway, we have you've had some great guests on your show. Michael Kay, actor Steve Sharippa, even Bill Simmons himself. But for my audience members who haven't checked out New York, shame on them. But what should they expect from your podcast, New York?
All right. So basically the same energy, attitude, passion that I brought to radio and that I bring to television, I do it in podcast form. And, it's very me. I think if you listen right away, you're going to get that sort of New York sound. You're going to get that sort of New York feel. And we keep it simple. We let it rip. We don't mince words. Sometimes we can get off a little bit off the beaten path and go off the deep end a little bit with some of our regulars that chime in on a particular show. But like everything has gone so far, 8-9 months into this thing, the way I kind of expected it to go. It's 3 days a week. I throw out a bunch of bonus content. We did a bunch of live shows. Did a live show from Fenway Park. Did a live show from the Barclays Center. So, yeah, really like where it's at, guys. But basically, it's what you would expect from me. If you know me, you know my personality, you know how I talk sports, you're getting the same stuff in podcast form.
There you go. Spotify, I believe also Apple Podcasts. I mean, you can don't let me do you the no justice here.
No, you actually did a good job. You nailed it. I was going to say, I got to correct anything. You nailed it.
Fantastic. All right, let's get into Guess the Graph. This is Tom Wospil's baby over here. He's going to show off one of his many autographed baseballs. And once again, JJ and I are going to try our hardest to guess what it is. And Tom, it's yet again another good one here. Here's the ball.
We have a little, there's a smudge there.
Yeah, what is that white stain there, Tom?
That's where the guy wrote his number, which would probably make it a little
Oh,
easier.
he wrote a number.
God,
I
I got a little too excited getting this guy's autograph. Okay, let's see.
I didn't write the number. He wrote the number.
All right, Rich, you going first or am I going first?
Nah, you got to take this one. I got to full screen this.
All right, is it Scott Brocious?
It is not Scott Brocious. The first name does start with an S, though. That is correct.
Damn.
Yeah, I knew. I see an S there. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's good.
That is an S. See, sometimes you don't know. Sometimes some of these guys that's an R, and you're like, oh, okay.
See, there's that last name kind of looks like Chavez, but I don't know anybody with an S. Chavez.
It's not Chavez, but you're on a path there.
It's a CH, isn't it?
It's not a CH, but it is a C.
Okay. So SC. SC.
Former Yankee.
Okay.
Former Yankee. Okay. See, Scott Proctor was going to be my next guess, but that's out now.
That is out now.
That's out. Not with the C.
Completely blocking JJ's mug. My apologies, but
That's all right. Nobody needs
the
to
ball
see.
now.
That's fine.
SC.
Would you say, was this a Yankee within the last 20 years?
Yeah.
I'm going to check out the chat here to see if we got any guesses coming in.
Yankee
we have a Scott Rowland, but that's clearly not it.
No, not a Yankee.
Not a Yankee.
I can see Scott there, though. It looks like
definitely not a Scott. So
it is not. The answer is not. The first name is not Scott.
SC. Could you give us a decade?
Not this decade. Last decade.
So what? 2010 and 2020?
Yep.
The 2010s. Okay.
The 2010s, right?
2010s.
Yep.
SC.
Two seasons with the Yankees.
2 seasons.
Okay, well, not Sean Chacon. Yeah, mid 2000s.
Not
That
Sean
actually
Chacon.
would have been a really good guess, to be honest with you.
2 seasons. He's still an active player, so this guy's still in the league.
Active player. S. See, I'm looking to see that uniform number if that gives anything away, but
SC. Damn. This is a good one. This is a good one.
His
and you blocked out the number, so I guess you're saying if the number's in there, we would have gotten it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's his number as a Yankee. So, Rich, I know your expertise of knowing guys' numbers. It's definitely one of those numbers that gets recycled a lot. But
would you is giving the position or pitcher hint too much of a hint here?
No, he's I just saw in the chat Santa Claus, which it is the season. It's it now.
Yeah, it is tis the season.
Tom, if you try to pull that because that's an SD,
that would have been fantastic. No, it's this is an infielder. He played 2 years with the Yankees, and was traded away. Right? Am I getting this right? Right? He was in a. Right.
God, this is tough.
I was going to say traded. Not Yangervis Solarte.
No, he was traded in a very, very big trade. The biggest trade the Yankees have made in the 2010s, I would say.
Oh wow,
the biggest trade the Yankees have made in 2010s. So it's not the Todd Frazier.
No, much bigger trade. Much bigger trade than that.
Oh, is it the Stanton trade?
It is the Stanton trade.
Oh, Starlin Castro.
Starlin Castro.
Oh, love it.
I'm going to be honest. I would have never, from that autograph right there, never would have made that out. Never.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that's why some of the guys write their numbers. It makes it easier.
But I didn't even, because he was 14 with the Yankees.
There's a 14.
See, I didn't notice the 14 there. My vision might be, honestly, my vision might be going down to 2.
No, he blocked it out. He blocked it out.
I blocked it. I put the white over the 14.
See, 14.
He's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. But yeah, I think you're right. If the 14 was there, I probably would have gotten SC14 Starlin Castro. But
listen, we appreciate the hint though, Tom, because I could have been there for like 10 zillion hours guessing random Yankees.
I was trying to think of how to connect them to Starling Marte, but then I thought that was going to open up some more wounds and we get sad, so I opted to not do that.
Easily. Would have stayed there all night on that one. That was a tough one. Good one, Tom. And great guest, JJ. Starlin Castro, our guest, the Graft. And at that time of the episode where we're going to let JJ go here. John, it was a pleasure having you on once again. JJ, what's your New Year's resolutions heading into 2022?
Wow, that's a loaded question. Is Kate
we got no
outside?
baseball to talk about. Fuck it.
Okay. New Year's resolutions. Or are we talking baseball resolutions?
Sure.
I was gonna say watching more games is definitely not on the horizon. I wish I could give something as easy and straightforward as that. How about let's shoot under 90 consistently on the golf course? That's a nice New Year's resolution.
That would be fantastic.
I mean, it's probably unrealistic. It's like trying to tell somebody who's like 350 pounds to try and lose weight. Not an easy thing to do, but we're daring to dream here on Savages in the Box, guys.
I love it, and that's all we do here. Savages in the Bronx. We're always dreaming big. JJ, it's been a pleasure. Make sure to give him a follow at John_Jastremski on Twitter, at JJBombs19 if you want to see his mug on Instagram. And, of course, give his podcast a listen. New York. Big hit, over 120 episodes, great guest. And, John, it's always been a pleasure, man. Happy holidays.
Guys, appreciate you. Thanks for having me on. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, all that good stuff. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Take care, man. John Jastremski, once again, joining Savages in the Bronx. Always a pleasure to have him on. And again, just make sure to give him a like, a subscribe, whatever the kids do these days on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that good stuff. And speaking of podcasts, make sure to listen to my other show, Leading Off, which is going to be back tomorrow night. It's been a while for episode 30. Start time at 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's going to be me and Espo. Make sure to give him a follow at The Life of Espo. He's been very passionate on Twitter lately. But Espo, and check us out. It's going to be our final episode of the season, episode 30, a big show. We're going to talk about everything from Hall of Fame ballots to your MLB wish list. And of course, we'll talk about the lockout and get into all that good stuff. Of course, with baseball being down, it's tough to talk about these things, but this will be the final time to join us to talk about all baseball. So make sure to give us a follow at LOff Podcast on Twitter and check us out tomorrow. And of course, on Twitch, stay subscribed to us because as I announced earlier today, we don't have any regular scheduled episodes coming up for the next month or so. So the best way to know, besides following us on Twitter and Instagram at Savages in the Bronx, at Savages Bronx, is to download the Twitch app and subscribe to Savages in the Bronx. That's how you get the notification on your phone to let you know when to join in. And of course, that's what a few of our supporters, our viewers here on Twitch have done correctly. And I thank you so much for joining us for this great show, and for JJ. And JJ did a great job as always. It's always fun having him on to talk Yankees baseball and just baseball altogether. Hi, Tom.
Oh, hey, Rich. I fell asleep with my eyes open for a little bit there. What were you saying?
I don't know. Something about baseball, Yankees, some crap like that. I don't know. Happy holidays.
You started talking, and I stopped caring. So
yeah, what are you gonna
do? I thought the show ended with JJ left, so I just was gone.
Oh, all right. Well, Riff 0302, does Tom co-host on Leading Off as well? Looking forward to checking it out. No, Tom is not my co-host on Leading Off. He's been a great guest on Leading Off.
Should be.
But he is an even better co-host on Savages in the Bronx. And of course, make sure to follow us everywhere so you can get the latest on our show. All right. Well, Tom, last episode of the year. It's been a wild one at that. We have the holidays coming up. Well, holidays are really here. Christmas coming up for those of you who celebrate Christmas. But yeah, it's been a heck of a ride, man. It's been a heck of a ride, and I want to thank you for being a part of this great show and being a great co-host. And I want to thank all our viewers at home for being a part of this as well. Tom, what do you got to say for our viewers?
Listen, viewers, I just hope we have shows coming soon. Listen, with the lockout and everything. I joked with JJ. I'm like, I hope they're back by mid-March, because I'm going to be down there in Florida. Hopefully I go down there to see spring training games. Hopefully there's baseball to be had, but I'm just hoping we get it back soon. If we start losing games or we have to push the season back, it's going to be sad. We don't want a situation where we hurt the game. The game's grown a lot over the last few years. I feel like it's gotten younger. It's gotten more exciting. They can do a lot of big changes in the CBA. So I'm hoping we have baseball sometime soon to enjoy, to get excited about again. And,
Yeah, I like to play MLB The Show 22 with actual players in there and not silhouettes and not Pablo Sanchez. I mean, Pablo Sanchez is great, but I don't want to play with fake players. I don't want John Dowd to be in my game.
Would that be a situation? Would they have to do that?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
No, but their deals with but isn't their deal with the MLBPA now with Major League Baseball?
Yeah, but it's in conjunction with Major League Baseball. Their likenesses would still have to be not used in the game. Now, what I did learn, and I should have known this a long time ago, if anybody who's not on the 40-man roster does decide to play Major League Baseball next year, they're considered scabs, and their likenesses are scrapped from future video games, baseball cards, all that good stuff. So, fun things you learn in the lockout.
There you go.
Learn something new every day. All right, guys and girls and everybody else. We'll see you here whenever we see you. We'll just keep you updated. But for now, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Festivus. Enjoy. Let's go Yankees. Let's go baseball. Let's get some fucking news back. All right. Take care, everybody.